9 years after I walked through the fog gates of Lothric, and it still hasn't let me go. Every time I think I've moved on, I boot up some new next-gen RPG, and within an hour usually I'm craving that clang of steel, that perfect parry, that silence between fights. Because once you've lived in Lothric, every other world starts to feel like a theme park. Once you've fought to light that last dying flame, quest markers start to look like training wheels that you don't want. Maybe you need them, but you don't want them. When you fight a boss and die once, twice, 3 times, other games let you get that sword that does extra damage so the boss becomes doable. Dark Souls 3 looks you dead in the eye and says, no, your sword is fine. You need to get better. Dark Souls 3 raised the bar and then buried it 6 feet underground. And in 2025, when every RPG wants to hold your hand, this game still slaps it away. It's punishing, it's poetic, and it's honest in a way that few games dare to be. And I recently made a video about The Witcher 3, and I love both games, but for different reasons. So why does Dark Souls 3, a game from 2016, still feel more alive than almost anything that came after? Let's figure out why Dark Souls 3 keeps pulling us back. And by the way, here's a wild stat that most people miss, probably because it sounds made up. The game's daily peak player count on Steam actually went up last year, a full 8 years after launch. Not by a lot, mind you, but that arrow pointed up. While other single-player games fade away, Dark Souls 3 is quietly gaining followers. That little number is our first clue. It's a sign that something in this game refuses to be forgotten. Honestly, it's probably just other masochists like me who enjoy a good digital beatdown. The first reason is the combat, which is so finely tuned, it feels like a high-stakes rhythm game where I personally have 2 left feet. Or 1 left foot, and that's it. Every weapon has its own timing, but they all bow to one god, that little green stamina bar. A swing, a roll, a block, it all costs something. I still get greedy to this day. I still try for that 1 extra hit, and I still get pancaked for it 9 years later. But when you read the pattern, you nail the timing, and you land that perfect parry or riposte, ooh baby, that sound is a dopamine drip straight into my veins that few other games have managed to replicate for me. It's a loop that respects your ability to learn, even if you're a slow learner like me. Weapon arts, which seemed like flashy afterthoughts, are, I think, secretly genius. They fix the useless weapon problem from earlier games. I can take a basic scimitar, press L2, and suddenly I have a spinning attack that makes me feel like a deadly ballerina. It means I don't have to grind for some ultra rare drop. I can just make the gear I already think looks cool, genuinely viable. And this elegance creates a massive variety of builds without ever making me feel overwhelmed. Now, let me make it clear, the game is not flawless. Lock-on still betrays me mid-roll, and some hitboxes still feel like they were drawn by a drunk god. But I feel that even when I rage, it's the good kind. It's the kind that makes me lean forward, not the kind that makes me quit. And the bosses, the bosses are the final exam that you never studied for. Take the Abyss Watchers. Phase 1 is this chaotic brawl where other enemies are trying to kill you and each other. It's a mess and I love it. It teaches you spacing and timing without a single annoying tutorial pop-up. And then phase 2 hits, the music swells, the sword ignites, and you realize the parry timing is the exact same. The lesson is not about memorizing more moves, it's about seeing the core pattern through all the fire and the spectacle. Dark Souls 3 trusts you to connect those dots yourself, while other games are still yelling button prompts at you. Now the lore. Forget item descriptions for a second. The real storytelling is in the world itself, that feeling you get just by looking around. You walk into the undead settlement and you see cages bolted to rooftops. No one explains it. You just know deep in your gut that something truly awful happened here long before you showed up. That one visual tells a more brutal story than 1,000 lines of dialogue ever could. This whole cryptic archaeological approach to story is, in my opinion, brilliant because it uses the most powerful graphics card in existence, your imagination. My brain fills in the gaps. It pictures horrors that Miyazaki never had to animate. It's why 9 years later, we are still debating who the nameless king's mom is on Reddit. The game doesn't fail to give an answer. It just trusts us to find our own. It's a narrative that respects my intelligence, even when I do something dumb like roll off a cliff for the 10th time, or 50th time. Modern games panic if there's a single loose thread. Dark Souls 3 just whispers, "What do you think happened?" And that can be way more satisfying. Of course, I understand that figure it out yourself storytelling is not for everyone. Some players bounce off it completely, and honestly, I get it. Sometimes I just want someone, anyone, to explain why there's a screaming tree in the corner. But in those times, I know not to boot up Dark Souls. And the world itself, it's folded in on itself like a piece of intricate, deadly origami. Remember that first elevator in the undead settlement that takes you right back to the start? That "wait, I'm back here" moment is pure magic. It's not just a convenient shortcut, it's the game rewarding you for paying attention as a player. You earned that faster route with your own brain, not by clicking on a map icon. It makes the world feel like a real, tangible place that I actually learned to navigate, usually through hardship. This design philosophy pays off massively for the trilogy's finale. Anor Londo's return is not cheap fan service, it feels like a genuine wound. The missing son is a scar that tells a story of decline and tragedy. It's not just a simple cool visual. The nostalgia hits harder because the gameplay holds up completely on its own. You don't have to have played the first game to appreciate the Abyss Watchers. But if you have, their connection to Artorias gives the fight a weight that feels earned over a decade. It's a masterclass in weaving the past into a fading present. Then there's the community. A bunch of glorious weirdos who 9 years on refuse to let the game die. The multiplayer system looks ancient on paper, no crossplay, tiny lobbies, sketchy connections, and frankly, the multiplayer system barely works half the time. Getting invaded can feel less like PvP and more like a networking test. But that simplicity is its strength. Invaders know the numbers, the host knows the limits. It keeps fights readable. My favorite part is how an invader can just run past you and drag a whole army of monsters into the fight, creating this unscripted, chaotic moment that's different every single time. It's why watching streams is still fun. Every invasion is its own unique, player-generated boss battle. And the mod scene? It's not just alive, it's putting some AAA studios to shame. Mods like Champion's Ashes are basically community-made sequels, built inside the original game. That level of passion is incredible. Dark Souls 3, with its slightly dated online structure, accidentally empowered its players to keep it alive forever. It's a living testament to what happens when you give players the tools to be creative, a collective refusal to let the flame fade. So down in the comments, tell me your favorite invasion story, or better yet, your most embarrassing rage crit. Let's talk about the difficulty, the thing my therapist and I have discussed at length. Dark Souls 3 isn't hard just for bragging rights, it's hard because the struggle is the narrative. You're not some destined hero, you're the unkindled, basically the leftovers, who has to claw your way through this world. Every "you died" scream isn't a failure, it's the game whispering, "Nope, not good enough. Try again." When I finally beat Slave Knight Gale after 57 attempts and a noise complaint from my neighbor, it felt earned. It was a profound sense of accomplishment. This is where it schools so many other games. A lot of modern RPGs just nudge you forward with bigger numbers. Dark Souls doesn't. Dark Souls basically just tells you, get good, son. That philosophy is timeless, because skill is something you build forever. My muscle memory is the ultimate upgrade. It's a game that forces you to confront your own limits and then gives you the tools to break them, not by grinding, but by learning. To me, that's the ultimate form of respect for a player. The last, and maybe most important thing, is the ending. And here's the twist. It isn't happy, no matter which path you take. Link the fire, let it fade, or usurp it for yourself. The cycle just sort of wobbles and continues. There's no neat little bow. That refusal to give you a clean, definitive answer is the most honest finale the saga could have possibly had. Hope and despair are two sides of the same coin in Lothric, and the game trusts you to decide which path feels right for your character. Most modern trilogies fall apart at the end because they feel the need to explain everything, to solve every mystery. Dark Souls 3 does the opposite. It hands you a question mark shaped like a sword and just walks away. 9 years later, we're still arguing about it, still dissecting it, still speedrunning it, and still finding new ways to break it. An ending that sparks endless debate and personal reflection. What could possibly be more perfect for a series like Dark Souls? So yeah, let's be honest. Is it technically flawless? Of course not. The camera still occasionally decides to show me a close-up of a brick wall while a giant is trying to smash me, and the bonfire warp screen is, let's face it, a glorified screensaver. But those are just superficial gripes. The core combat, the trust it puts in your curiosity, and the courage to leave a story unfinished. These are the things that make Dark Souls 3 timeless. Graphics age, mechanics become dated, but brilliant design that respects the players forever. In 2025, perfection isn't about ray tracing. It's about a game that still teaches, punishes, and surprises you. It's about a game that still matters. I'm not trying to defend the game, because Dark Souls 3 doesn't need defending. It doesn't need nostalgia to stay relevant. It's proof that great design outlasts hype, technology, and trends. And nearly a decade later, it's still teaching us what good game design looks like, and how honesty, challenge, and restraint can be more powerful than spectacle. Guys, I'm trying to make it as a full-time YouTuber, and these videos take a lot to make. So if you enjoy the videos, please consider subscribing. It truly means a lot, and it makes a big difference. Thank you for watching.